And we are live. It's your boy Mill Hustles back with another wrestling chat, joined by the homie Isaiah Masp. Took the week off to handle some business. So it's just us, man. What's up?
Not much, man. How about you?
Nothing, man. You know, same old, same old.
Yeah, same here.
So a lot of stuff has happened in the world of wrestling since we last spoke. A lot of crazy things. So the first thing I want to start with tonight is, condolences to Bobby Heenan's family and friends.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Definitely one of the best performers in the history of wrestling. I remember as a kid, I absolutely hated Bobby Heenan, which meant he did his job well.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of him, but I don't know him at all. But I mean, I'm pretty sure that if he played the heel role really well, then he must have been good. I'll have to check him out later.
He absolutely did, man. Absolutely. He managed a lot of greats, including Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, Rick Rude, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect. I mean, Jesus, the list goes on and on and on and on. And then he transferred over to being color commentator with Gorilla Monsoon, which was a really awesome duo. A little after that, he left to WCW, where he became a full-time commentator. And, after that, his health started declining. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He had throat cancer, got to the point where they had to remove a big chunk of his jaw. And basically his main source of income the last few years, other than whatever he got from the wrestling business, was doing comic conventions, autograph signings, and things like that. And, yep, we got the unfortunate news that he passed away at 72 or 73 years old. So if y'all don't know anything about Bobby Heenan, definitely look him up, because he is basically what a performer should be. And, a lot of people like to say after someone passes away, they're the greatest of all time. We've been saying that for years. He's the greatest wrestling manager of all time. We said that 10, 15 years ago, because he is what a wrestling manager should have been.
Man. You know what he died of? Throat cancer?
Probably it was, I don't know. I don't know if it was complications to that. I haven't heard. Most likely it was. But I'm not going to speculate until it's,
Yeah. R.I.P. to him, though.
Yep. R.I.P., man. Big loss in the wrestling business. Very big loss. Okay. Yeah. So you had a couple of topics we were going to talk about tonight. I already knocked one of mine out. So what do you got, Isaiah?
I'm just going to talk about the Undertaker possible return from retirement. I heard it's not confirmed. It's a rumor that he might come back and either face Roman Reigns or Braun Strowman, either one of the two. I mean, and yeah.
Look, I love the Undertaker. I've always been a fan of the Undertaker since he showed up in the WWE. I was 5 years old when he debuted. He's done so much for wrestling altogether. He has nothing to prove. He owes the wrestling business nothing. The wrestling business owes him everything. I honestly think Taker, if he wants to come back, that's totally up to him. But I think it's time to really hang the boots up. I don't think it's true. I mean, the Undertaker has so many injuries that have been prolonged. He's wrestled injured for many years because, you got to work, and he's practically carried the company. It doesn't matter if he was the top guy or not. He was the leader of the locker room. He's carried that company since he started. He's the most respected member of any locker room, period, bar none.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
So if he wants to come back, that's cool. I always love seeing The Undertaker. And it's really weird because I was used to seeing The Undertaker week in, week out. And now that we see him once a year, if that, it's like Anytime he comes back, a lot of really wonderful memories come back, and I love it when he's there. But at the same time, he's not getting any younger. None of us are really. He's, like I've said before, and I'll put it in bold letters. He's done everything for wrestling. Wrestling owes him everything. But it's up to him. Did you know that he has creative control?
Really? Did not
Yes,
know that.
he has creative control. He can refuse to face somebody. He can refuse a job because he's been working for the WWE for so long. I mean, he debuted in 1990. In 3 years, it's going to be 30 years.
Yeah,
Some
that's
of us weren't
crazy.
even born in 1990. I was 5, but
Yeah, I remember him from the mostly from the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression era, but first time I just recently watched him like way back in like the 90s. Like I can't remember exactly when. It was like what 2013. So I just started going back in his career, rewatching. But and he's Undertaker is one of the greatest legends of wrestling of all time, like hands down.
look, you cannot look at any dark character in wrestling today. Not one dark character in wrestling can say, I didn't borrow from The Undertaker. They all have, rather directly or indirectly.
Yeah, because he was like just the stage presence and you know the charisma, just that dark character and all his expressions, just
He's a
everything
total
about him.
package. He's a total package. Superstar.
Yeah, like
Under
the dude. Oh, go
I
ahead.
I've also told this to many people, bro. The Undertaker is the greatest big man wrestler of all time. As far as the
Yeah,
performance goes, he's the best big wrestler. And when I mean big wrestlers, to qualify for that, and it's just an opinion, you have to be 6'5" or taller, and you have to weigh 275 pounds or more to fit into that class.
dang.
And
Yeah,
don't tell me The Rock is 6'5", 275. That's a WWE rate. I guarantee you he's not that big. He's huge, probably weighs that, but I guarantee you he's not 6'5".
yeah. And the Undertaker, what's really impressive about the Undertaker is how he's big, but yet he manages to do all these aerial moves like flying clotheslines and dives all over the top ropes. That's just
No,
ridiculous.
he's had a couple of close calls, so he has slowed it down a bit. But yeah,
Yeah, now we don't really see him that often. We only see him like what once a year or
once
how
a
often?
year, that's it, once a year. But it
But
feels like the time between that one appearance he does every year is forever.
yeah, yeah, it really does. But yeah, I mean, if he, I'm highly doubt he's coming back. But if he does, um, I mean, now that I think about it, a lot of wrestlers they retire, but then they come back like a year, like maybe like 5 years later, or within like 5 years later, and they
Yo,
wrestle one match, and you know,
Taker Taker could literally kick Vince McMahon's door down and motherfuck him, like say that to him, and Vince will apologize, even if it was nothing he did. That's how close they are. That's how important he is to the WWE. So if he comes back, that's cool. A long time ago, I heard rumors also that there was going to be something like a reality series exclusive to the WWE Network, where they filmed The Undertaker during a home life, out of character. I
hmm.
took that with a grain of salt, to be honest. But I was interested. I was hoping something like that happened, because The Undertaker is such an elusive character, especially now that he only does part-time appearances.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty
yeah,
sure there's, uh, out there, and I'm sure eventually he'll start doing them, but I'm sure there's promoters out there salivating at the chance to have the Undertaker show up for a comic convention, you know, a Legends wrestling event, and I'm sure they'll pay him top dollar. But at the end of the day, it's up to the man Mark Calloway, also known as the Undertaker, if he wants to do it or not, and he will draw huge crowds off of that.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I heard that like in his match with Roman Reigns, he I think the only reason he did it was because he wanted to give Roman Reigns a chance to show him the ropes and pass
Well,
on his knowledge to him or something like that.
what I heard was there was a little animosity in real life between the Undertaker and Roman. However, Roman is being groomed in a sense to be the next Undertaker. And if you look at Roman, other than when he cuts his little cheesy jokes, he does remind me in a way of The Undertaker. And he's also a locker room leader, so he does step up for the boys too, as well as discipline them, because the guy can wrestle and he's come a long way in a short time. And I don't care what John Cena said on Raw, the guy can wrestle. He's a better wrestler than John Cena, for fuck's sake. You can't tell me he's not. He's a much better in-ring performer than John Cena. Yes, I said it and I'll say it again. Roman Reigns is a better wrestler than John Cena. As someone that has hit the ropes a few times and taken bumps, I can say
that. Yeah. Well, we might have to discuss that another day.
Okay. I will debate it, bro, but without a doubt in my mind, Roman Reigns is a better in-ring performer than John Cena is. Honestly, yeah. And I'm not knocking John Cena at all, because John Cena can go, and John Cena's had a long list of great matches. I'm not gonna lie, but Roman is slowly but surely beating that list. I'll give you an example. Okay, people, we apologize. This is impromptu. Yes, it got away from the Undertaker discussion, but it is what it is. This is Wrestle Chat. Damn it, enjoy or log off. When him and AJ Styles were feuding, I said, how the hell are these two gonna mesh? Roman is a power wrestler, and AJ's more of a high flyer / technical wrestler. I said, this is going to be awful. I bit my tongue. They had an excellent series of matches. Excellent. Psychology was there. The timing was there. They made it look flawless, and they made it look like they were fighting for real, which is what I love about pro wrestling, when these motherfuckers make shit seem like it's real.
Oh yeah, same here. Because, you know, if it looks choreographed and whatnot, and he then it just looks terrible. Like I saw Braun Strowman run into a ring post. He shoulder tackled it, and he acted like nothing happened. I'm like, come on now, that's so unrealistic. Like, terrible.
Well, usually the bigger guys like the Undertaker, the Strowmans, and Big Shows can get away with things like that, because they are larger than life. But at the same time, if it's hokey, it's hokey. I don't care if you're an inch tall or a mile tall. True that.
Yeah. As far as Roman Reigns goes, I liked him better when he was with the Shield, because I thought he was a good heel.
And not to absolutely. Get off, absolutely.
Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say on the subject as far as Undertaker possible return from.
And it's too bad that Kane is a part-timer also, and Kane is running for office. And I said, it's going to be sad having Undertaker gone, but at the same time, Kane could be booked like the Undertaker. He could take Undertaker's place, but we also have to remember that Kane has been there since 1995, and when he was Isaac Yankem, when he was the fake Diesel, when he became Kane, Kane's been there a long time too. He probably needs to pump the brakes too, but whenever we get Kane, he wrestles just like the Undertaker.
Hell yeah, I've always felt that Kane was underrated too. Like,
he's very underrated. Kane has been so poorly booked the last decade. When Kane first came in, when Kane was first unmasked, he was an unstoppable monster. And I said, if we can keep Kane, we can kind of fill the void, not totally, but somewhat, of the Undertaker. But at the same time, we got to remember Kane's been there since '95. The Kane character debuted in 1997 at Bad Blood, but Kane, Glenn Jacobs himself, debuted for the WWE. He signed a developmental deal, I believe it was in 1993, where he went to work for Smoky Mountain Wrestling, owned by Jim Cornette. So he's basically been a WWE employee since around 93, 94.
Yeah, and
Hey, bro, I'm sorry I keep talking over Isaac people or Isaiah. I love to hear myself, though, so sorry.
uh, it's all right, no problem. But okay, so yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say on the subject. um, Now I want to talk more about the the why Vince McMahon doesn't care about the WWE anymore.
Well, do you want to start or should I start?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to take back that statement, but I feel like Vince McMahon doesn't completely care. Doesn't completely care. I changed it up a little bit about the
Okay.
booking, especially the booking. Vince McMahon still looks at the in ring, because we've heard stories of Vince McMahon that he made Randy Savage and Ric Flair wrestle twice in the span of 20 minutes because their first match just wasn't right. And he made them go out there and re-wrestle the match. And when they came back, Vince was just like, fuck it, just leave it as it is, pissed off. So he does look at the in-ring these days, especially with the smaller guys. But the reason I say that is because the booking has just been absolutely awful. The feedback has been scathing. Everybody's saying how boring the product is. But the reason it's not changing, and this is why I say he doesn't care, is because there's so many revenue streams now as far as this digital era goes. He got the WWE Network. He got the WWE Shop.com. He got the App Store, the Android Google Play Store. He got YouTube. He got music, like on iTunes and all that shit.
Yeah.
DVDs, action figures, fucking anything WWE, cups. So many people have licensing deals with them. You know, it's insane.
Yeah.
He's making a ton of money. And at the end of the day, the house shows are down, the ratings are down. The network, it really isn't growing how it should. Pay-per-view business is pretty much dead unless UFC or some boxing promotion put something on. He's making a ton of money while like I said, while ratings are down, while house shows are down, ticket sales, gates, all that stuff, merch is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Merch is at an all-time high. They have 1 million paid network subscribers. That's about $10 million a month. The action figures, the DVDs, et cetera, et cetera. So all that money is coming from pretty much non-wrestling stuff, so to say. It does involve wrestling. I can't say that completely, but that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because I think that's partially why he doesn't really care as much as he used to, because he has no competition straight up, and when you have no competition, that's when you just lose motivation, so to speak, and you start to die down. You know, the hype's the need to put out the best product starts to die down, and you just settle for less, and I mean, there's no denying that Vince McMahon and his company is making like way more money than other mainstream companies right now. Or yeah, he's at the top, and I think that's probably why the product is suffering, because he there's nobody to in his mindset, there's nobody to compete against. Like he likes staying. I mean, to me, that's just, if you look back at WCW and ECW, like the Monday Night Wars and everything. Um, you could see he was totally using the predatory tactics and making them go under and notice how the product was solid back then and compared to now where there's really no major promotion on the level of WWE. And so yeah. But another point I want to bring up is that how like the reason why I say he doesn't really care anymore is because uh, he doesn't really give the fans what they want. He only puts out what he wants. Like I remember in an interview, Raven said that Metallica offered to play at a WWE event for free, and he just turned him down. Like, no, I don't know who these people are. That's crazy right there.
Yeah,
So, I
absolutely.
mean, you know,
There's a lot of acts that have performed in the WWE, and Vince McMahon, I don't know who the hell they are. Who the fuck is Metallica? What's a Metallica? But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
it's usually his minions, his underbosses that approve those kind of things. I mean, do you think Vince McMahon has ever fucking heard a song by Flo Rida or Machine Gun Kelly?
no, it'd be cool if he did, though. I mean, but well, then again, he had like a bunch of bands playing at WWE concerts, like like he had
Big Pun. Do you remember Big Pun?
nah.
He was a Puerto Rican rapper that died in the year 2000, but he performed at the WrestleMania 15 party. Do you think Vince McMahon said, I want Big Pun, damn it. I want Big Pun over here. I want him to sing, yeah, baby, yeah.
I mean, I but that's just what it feels like. It feels like like with him pushing Roman Reigns, and nobody asked for Roman Reigns to be pushed. The only reason why I think partially the only reason why people like Roman Reigns is because he's pushing them down people's throats. Same with John Cena and other guys that people didn't really ask for, but they're there regardless, and I think that's why fans have accepted them because he's just making them, he's just force feeding them, and uh and that's part of, I guess that's part of the issue because Vince McMahon, um it feels like, I'm not sure if it's just me, but it feels like he wants to be the one creating um the product rather than have people do it for him. Like think back to the Attitude Era days with Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara backstage and creative, just writing in the show and coming up with all these ideas, and making the Attitude Era popular, and with the freaking all these wrestlers all who also came up with great ideas here and there. They also, made the show. Like, think of all the WWE legends like Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, um, Hulk Hogan, a bunch of guys. And I think he's probably pissed off that he just can't, he's not creative. And the only thing he's ever been good at is the business side of WWE, and that's pretty much it. Because I heard in an interview that he had Stephanie. He put his own daughter in charge, in charge of a creative. I don't know if it was a head writer or whatnot, but I'm like, are you serious, man? Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, she was head of creative, but at the same time, that was a huge team. And we can't really say during the time because this started around 2007, 2008. The product was still okay, so we can't really put all the blame on her. But at the same time, I look at Stephanie and she seems like that fucking alpha female that says, "Oh, I'm the fucking man here. I got the fucking balls." And, you deal with those kind of women at work, and those are the women I cuss out, and then they end up loving me because I don't take shit. Fuck them. But yeah, so what else you got, bro?
Um. Okay, and another thing is he's he's lost touch with this what this generation wants. Like it seems like he doesn't know what today's fans are into. I mean, because he's pretty much an old timer and he just I don't know, it just feels like he like he's just lost his marbles. He's gone senile.
Yeah, I
What do
mean,
you
Vince is 71 years old. I mean, this will give us a little segue. A 71-year-old man. I'm not saying anything because he's in excellent condition. There's nothing against people, you know, our senior citizens, but he does not need to be taking the kind of bumps he took against Kevin Owens the other day. And that kind of segues into our
Yeah.
final segment. I mean,
Yeah.
if you saw Vince, Vince is just not as sharp as he used to be. If you hear his voice, it's age, it's natural, it's life. You hear Vince. Vince used to be like, "Welcome everyone to the World Wrestling Federation," and now it's like, "Welcome everyone to the World Wrestling Federation." It's age,
Yeah.
but at the same time, someone like him, his age, despite how healthy he might be or how much he works out, it's not healthy for someone to bleed the way he bled or to get hit the way he got hit. I mean, okay, we get it, it's worked, but there's still some physical contact there.
Yeah. And I heard in an interview that as I don't know when this was, but he slid into the ring, like wrestlers do, and and he injured his leg. Like I don't know if he tore the muscle in it,
Well, there was one
but
time that he literally was about to get into the ring and he tripped and tore both his quads.
yeah,
Like it
yeah,
literally looked like he went right down, boop, landed right on his ass.
yeah. I think that's the accident that I was talking about.
And then he retore both his quads about a year ago working out. He had surgery a few days later and he tried to go back to work the next day.
Yeah, yeah, like because I think he's the type to not want people to see him hurt. Like he doesn't
Oh yeah,
like
he doesn't like to display weakness. He doesn't like people to sneeze around him.
yeah, he's just that. But yeah, you're totally right on the old age part. Like I mean, someone like that. I mean, he shouldn't be doing stuff like that. You
I
know.
mean, he could have easily hemorrhaged, even though it was a blade job. We get it. I just said, like I said before, he's 71 years old. You should not be bleeding like that at that age.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, people can say what they want. I feel like he completely buried Kevin Owens. I mean, Kevin Owens, okay, he did attack him. That's part of the angle, but I feel like they literally took his balls away with that. Like he spoke to Kevin down and Kevin looked intimidated because at the same time, Vince likes his bodybuilder wrestlers. Kevin ain't no bodybuilder. So you
Yeah.
can tell Kevin was intimidated and he knows that he probably doesn't like how he's built.
Yeah. That's the thing about Vince that I never liked about him is his ego, man. Like it's so big and he, he feel like it just seems like Vince has to impose his will on everybody in the WWE or otherwise he just loses cool. Like if he can't control them and you know push who he wants, then he loses it. Like he's a power trip. That's what makes him a great heel. Because he's a douchebag, plain and simple. Like I remember a whole like during his feud with Austin and a bunch of other wrestlers. Like I wanted somebody to beat the living crap out of this guy because he just pissed me off.
What the fuck is a douchebag, pal?
Yeah, and it's surprising how back in the day when he was younger, he had that kind of voice and he was more lively, action packed.
I mean,
Action,
like I said,
what
bro,
I mean?
he's not in his 40s or 50s anymore. You know, he doesn't move like he used to. I mean, he can barely do the Vince McMahon strut. You know?
Dang. Yeah, last time I saw him, it was with it was a ring segment with the Undertaker, and his hair was all white and crap, and barely almost, he looked like he was about to drop dead. Or like I'm surprised he hasn't dropped dead at that age, because man, it just looked like he was about to break down. But and yeah, and another reason why Vince doesn't really care as much anymore is because for some reason he doesn't like working with other companies.
Oh, of course not. And you know something? That's one thing I don't dislike that about him. I actually like that about him. And there's a few companies that have been the exception. For example, Tommy Dreamer, he wrestles occasionally. He's under a Legends contract. When he shows up, like he was there just last year wearing a House of Hardcore t-shirt, which is his promotion. You know, WWE.com interviews on NXT and all that. You know, a lot of wrestlers that have debuted recently were from Ring of Honor, and they allow them to say Ring of Honor on television.
Yeah.
You know, they have a okay relationship with the WWE. ECW was another one, but when it was TNA or WCW, they hardly acknowledged them at all. They did acknowledge WCW a little more because WCW really was competition, and WCW beat them for a long time and almost put them out of business.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's uh I think there's pros and cons to those kinds of business tactics compared to what Global Force Wrestling is doing as far as being cooperative and making partnerships and basically getting on their good sides and yeah and but I mean the thing about Vince is that he just can't be like if he wants to bring down other companies or keep them at the bottom, that's fine, but but he shouldn't be surprised if karma bites him back in the end. You know what I
It's
mean?
already bitten him many times over.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I had to say on it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's all I had too, man. Any final thoughts before we wrap up? Hey, you know what? I just had an idea. Maybe we should do like a martial arts podcast one of these days, like a one-time thing, and see how that does.
All right. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this has been Mill Hustles and Isaiah with the Wrestle Chat that we try to do once a week. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at I Love to Hustle. If you don't know how to spell that, I feel sorry for you. Go back to school. Isaiah, where can people find you at?
You can just like and subscribe to my channel. And if anybody didn't like this podcast, then F you. Just kidding.
All right, guys. We will go ahead. Sorry.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay, guys, we will catch y'all later.
All right, peace.